welcome to another video. Today I am doing another one of those incoherent book babble-y things about a book that I've recently finished reading. And today that book is Vassa In The Night by Sarah Porter. This book was sent out in, I believe I got it in a fairy loot, no, not a fairy loot box. I got it in an owl crate box, but it was also sent out in a fairy loot box. So I know that some people did get duplicates of this book. And that would lead one to believe that if two book boxes have chosen this book to be their book of that month, I cannot remember what month it was, sorry, but if two boxes have picked it, then it's gonna be a really good book, right? That really depends on the sort of reader that you are. This book is really weird. Really weird. Like, there are moments where you just kind of have to stop and go like, what? What did I just read? Because that just isn't right. And there's quite a few of them in here. So, depending on how much weird you can take, don't know if this book will be for you. I personally like a good bit of weird. And the bits that had me stopping going like, what? Were the bits that I ended up really enjoying. And obviously I remember them quite well, because they made me stop and think for a minute. And the weirdness of this book, I think, is what, for me, is going to make it quite a memorable book. Because I did really enjoy it. And I think to certain people I would recommend it. I mean, I can imagine someone like my mother, who is also into kind of weird books, would really enjoy this. However, someone that is into contemporaries, no, you wouldn't understand it. I mean, I don't understand most of it. It doesn't make any sense. But, you know, depending on what you're into, this book has got quite a specific audience in mind, I think, depending on how much weird you can take. Pretty much, this book follows the story of Vassa, and Vassa lives with her sisters and her stepmother. And from that vibe, you're thinking, oh, sounds a bit like Cinderella. No, get that out of your head. She lives with her sisters and her stepmother, and she is sent out in the middle of the night to get light bulbs because all the light bulbs in the house have gone out. And the blurb tells you that this is a suicide mission because it's the middle of the night and the nights in this book last a really long time. They're not like a normal night. They last days, like days and days. But it's nighttime. And the only shop that's open through these night times is Buys, where the owner of the shop has a tendency to chop off your head if you are caught shoplifting. Pretty much anyone that goes into this shop doesn't come out alive, which makes you think they're not all stealing, so what's going on there? All a bit weird. That is explained pretty early on, how everyone ends up getting beheaded, but Vassa needs the light bulbs and she needs to not get beheaded. So that is her task. I don't really know how much of this book I can explain without it being really spoilery, because as I say, most of it is really weird. But to give you a little bit of how weird it is, it involves a little wooden doll that talks and is Vassa's like best friend, some weird witch woman, swans, quite a lot of swans, a dog that is questionable, and a guy that rides a motorcycle all the time and never talks. Weird. Oh, also, at one point, a guy gets absolutely hacked to pieces and then put back together and it's fine. Weird. So if from those little weirdy bits you think you can cope with the weird, then yeah, read it. It's a really good book. I really did enjoy it, and I know that there have been some mixed reviews about it, but as I say, I think that just depends on how much weird you can take, because there is absolutely no way on earth that this is a normal book. It's strange, but if you like strange, then I think you're gonna like it, because it is a good story, and the things that we learn about Vassa are little life lessons, and if you can get past the weird, then the story is good. What I haven't mentioned is the fact that this is a retelling of the Russian folktale Vasilisa the Beautiful. I don't know much of that story myself. In fact, I've never heard of it before this, so I don't know how true it is to that, but I didn't get any like Russian vibes from this. So if you've got like something against Russian folklore, then I don't think it'll be too much of a problem, because it's based in Brooklyn in America. So in terms of non-spoileriness, I am going to leave it at that, because as I say, so much happens in this book that is weird and I don't want to ruin it for you if you plan on reading it. So if you don't want to get spoiled and you plan on reading this book, now would be the time for you to leave. Thank you for sticking with us for this small period of time. If you have read this book or don't care about being spoiled, stay with me because I'm about to discuss some strange things with you. Are all the correct people still here? Yes? Good? Okay. Her dad got turned into a dog? What? That was the first bit in this book where I kind of just stopped and was like, huh? Where did that come from? That didn't make any sense. I mean, then later on it was explained how, like, he wanted his dad's approval and his dad always loved dogs more than people, so he wanted to be a dog. So he went to a witch who turned him into a dog, and he's a German Shepherd. Although she did say she didn't know if he was a German Shepherd, but she always imagined him being a German Shepherd. What? Also, I don't entirely understand what relevance that had to the story. Because obviously he left Vassa's mum and then left Vassa's stepmom and just left everyone by becoming a dog. So I get the whole, like, why it's important to point out the abandonment thing there, because the reason of Vassa and Erg being the way they are, blah blah blah, abandonment issues, etc. But yeah, but why a dog? Why a dog? Don't understand that. Also, something a bit weird that I'm not sure I understand is why did she have to have one foot turn into a swan foot? What? I mean, yeah, all the swans were all there because they were people that had been trapped and couldn't escape and they went past the border, so they got turned into swans. And only her foot went over, so she has a swan foot. And that only happened because Chelsea was trying to drag her away. Those sisters were not nice people in my eyes, especially Stephanie. Stephanie was a bitch. My feelings on the end, I like the fact that Babs was offed. She did deserve that. I know that Vassa was like, oh no, we don't want to kill her, we want the answers, we want to take her magic out of her so she can just be a little old lady. I get how that would have been a good outcome for her as well, but I'm glad that she was offed. Because if she wasn't offed, then Vassa wouldn't have been able to make the life lesson that she did in terms of her relationship with Erg. I did like the little bit where Erg made her say what she thought that she was, like, tell me the truth about how you think I can talk and stuff, and she says that she thought that because as soon as her mother died, the doll came to life, she thought that her mother was in the doll. And then Erg was like, but you know that's not true, you know that's not what I am, I'm a part of you, I am your grief and your loneliness and your abandonment issues and all of those things. Which is why earlier in the book Chelsea made that, like, psychoanalysis of her being unloved and having those abandonment issues, which is why she was stealing Stephanie's things, but it wasn't Vassa stealing them, it was Erg stealing them. So it kind of was Vassa stealing them because it was Vassa's feelings that she didn't know she had provoking Erg to steal things. Bit complicated, but I liked how that all wrapped up and tied in together, and I think that it was like a life lesson that Vassa needed to learn, and it made it all so much clearer why Babs kept calling her a half girl and stuff. It was emotional. I did get a little bit emotional when Erg had to, not die I suppose, because she was never really alive, and the only part of her that was alive just went back into Vassa, but kind of died. That was a little bit emotional. I did get a little bit sad about that, because Vassa and Erg made a really good team. And now they're not a team, it's just one person, so but I think over the course of the story Vassa did a lot of growing up and learnt a lot. Of course there was also the thing with the motorcyclist being the knight and her trying to pull the stars from his eyes and stuff. That was all strange. So much of this was strange. I really did enjoy how Night was such an important character in this. It wasn't just a time of day or a time of night or whatever. He, maybe not a he, I don't know. Night was a very important character and a very good friend to Vassa and helped her with a lot, which in the end was returned as she reunited night with night, and everything was righted. I did really enjoy it. I've seen a lot of people say that they've read the blurb of this and just thought, nah. But I don't know why this book called to me so much, but I'm so glad that I have read it, because I did really enjoy it. I liked most of it, including the weird bits that might have not made much sense to anyone else. And as I said, they didn't really make much sense to me either, but I like a bit of weirdness like that. If I've like missed a key point and you're thinking, but Jade, that's what that means, please let me know. Let's discuss this. If you've read it, let's discuss this book, because I would love to try and work out what some of the other things meant, like the importance of her dad being a dog. Or there was a whole chapter about the swans trying to get Vassa to turn into a swan. And in a way I can kind of understand why they would want that, but also why did they want that? Like, these are things that I would love to be able to discuss with someone. So if you have read this book, please drop me a comment down below and we can chat about it or something, because there's a lot to talk about with all the weirdness. I am going to leave it at that because I don't really know how much else I can... How much else? What else? How much else? How much more? That's what I mean. I don't really know how much more I can say about this because it's just so bloody strange. So yeah, I am going to leave it at that. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Chat to me down in the comments. If, as I say, if you've read this book, please come and talk to me because there's so much to discuss. If you fancy subscribing, I am always eternally grateful for that. And I will see you next time with whatever else I'm doing.